Hi Flosstube, I'm Lori and welcome to Once Upon a Stitch. Today is May 22nd, 2024. It is Wednesday. I had to make sure it was Wednesday. Being retired, it's hard to keep track of dates and days and yeah. Well, anyway, it is that, and it is my 146th Flosstube video. Welcome if you're new here, and welcome back all my regular viewers. It's so nice that you stop by and visit with me, and I hope I have some things here that you would be interested in seeing. Some new finishes, new starts, new finishes, and whips. Always love whips. I know I do. Anyway, somebody asked me how I get a project on a Q-snap, a large project on a Q-snap. So I'm going to save that to the end because most of you probably know how to do that. But I'm going to put in the frame, his eye is on the sparrow, which I have a huge piece of fabric, and I'm going to demonstrate on that one. And I'll leave that to the end, like I said, in case those that, you know, are very familiar with using Q-snaps and have their preferences of how they do it. Okay, so I guess I heard from everybody from the last giveaway. I think it was 2 people that I had to go back to their comment and say, please watch my video number, blah, blah, blah. This way they can see that their name was announced and that I wasn't a scam saying, oh, you won something when they hadn't won something. And so everybody got back to me. Everything's in the mail, and hopefully it gets delivered to the right place. And I have one more giveaway that was in the what will I be stitching for through the end of the year, and I put Carriage House Samplings Blooming Basket, this pattern here. I decided I wasn't going to stitch it, though I loved it. I don't know, sometimes I think that I choose things now with the hopes that maybe my kids won't get rid of it after I'm gone. So anyway, it sounds kind of morbid, I know. But so anyway, the winner of that is K Shrugs, S-C-R-U-G-G-S, $28.99. So Kay, I hope you're watching the video. You're the recipient of this pattern. If you message me on Instagram, that would be the quickest that I would see it, because I will put my email address as well in case you're not part of Instagram, but I don't check my emails very often. I don't know why. Ever since I stopped working, days go by, and then I just go in there and go delete, 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 delete until I see something that is really important. Okay. Did that. So what has happened since we were last together? I don't know if I want to show this right now. So I'm going to show you a finish that I've had. I'm like, there's something I want to share with you, but I'm thinking I might share it towards the end of the video, might be right before the, it's some family photos basically. And can't go there at the beginning of a video. So they were Mother's Day presents to me, and I'd love to share them with you. So we'll go with what I finished since we were last together and previous finishes. So I finished this pattern. Well, I finished the pattern prior, and I finally fully finished it, almost. This is called Sew in Love, S-E-W in Love by I Design. What did I write down? I wrote it somewhere. Oh, Sew in Love, I Stitch Designs. And I passed the chart on this. This is the second time I stitched this. This was stitched on a silk, but I had lost the tag of it, so I can't tell you what brand or color it was. But I gave it away. Well, we did an exchange, not that I gave it away. At the last New Jersey retreat that I attended, that was my finish for it. And I loved it so much that I decided to stitch it for me. So I had this trim that I was thinking of putting on here. It's a chenille. I just want to show you a part of it that I wanted to sew on here. I don't usually glue finishes on my projects. And so I was going to just, stitch this one around, but I thought it was a bit thin. So I went to Joann's and I found this thicker one, and I think it'll be, it's hard to see. I couldn't find the end of it to, without taking the wrapper off. So I think I will be putting this one on. You can see it, so it shows a bit more. And just to give you an idea of the, why aren't I prepared? Because, there we go. Okay. There happens to be a knot in it. So I will, work around that, of course. But see, this is a bit thicker, and I think it'll be nicer of a finish for this pillow. And that's the back of it. And again, Sew in Love by I Stitch Designs. And I'm just going to move some stuff because I have a lot to show you. And okay, previous finishes. This is by Puntini Puntini, When I Think of Summer. And I believe I stitched this last summer, or I finished it last summer, and I really like it. And I finished it with some daisies, and actually I slit the back and I cut out a piece with pinking shears. I used pinking scissors, and I kind of try to match the daisies so that it wouldn't be visible. And it seems to blend in when you use pinking shears. And that was glued on. Also from Puntini Puntini, this is Hello Summer. No, this is Welcome Summer. She did a series of Welcome Spring, Welcome Winter, Welcome Autumn, I think it was. This is the summer one, and it has a shell button. This one, let's say one of them. No bird. The birds are stitched in. The birdhouse is a button that came with the pattern, and the sign here that says Welcome Summer. And this is actually just popped in here. It was the perfect size to frame and put in this frame that comes from Hobby Lobby. And it's an 8.1 by 12.1 wall decor piece. So it probably says something under here, and I just popped it in. Let's see. I don't know if they still have it, but here's the information on it. And yeah, and that works out beautifully. Then from Primrose Cottage, this was the June 9 patch. And what do I have here? I have a watermelon button. No, it's a button and a star pin. And that's just a plaid finish. The plaid was a little bit more difficult to hide, but again, I used pinking shears, and maybe from a distance it's not as visible. And then from Primrose Cottage, this is Hello Summer. This was a different daisy finish. And yes, I'm looking at the top and bottom to see that how I closed it, but it's again with a piece of fabric. Let's see if I can get, you could see it. Here's a little bit down here. Then from Heinz It, this was called Flip Flops. And this is, oh, I didn't tell you any of the fabrics. I believe this is an 18 count aida that I used one strand over one. This is, I believe, a 14 count aida, white. This was a 28 count. Can't really tell you the color. Looks like a grayish. You know, I don't keep track of it when I finish it, and I write it in a book of the day that I finished it. I just usually write the designer, the name of the pattern, and the date that I finished it. So I'm trying to be, this year I'm trying to write more information like the fabric, because once I put everything away, I don't remember the fabrics. This was a model piece of fabric, again, more like a gray. So I apologize for not knowing all the fabrics. This is a 14 count aida. And this is Heinzit Flip Flops. Then on a 28 count, looks like a light blue, I did Resting Beach Base by Hands On Design. And when I saw this, I felt like I had to stitch this, because I have one of those faces. If I'm not smiling, I look like I'm mad at the world. My husband used to say, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I was like, "Nothing, that's just my face. Leave me alone." And then I added some beach themed pins of a shell of a seagull. Oh, I forget what these are called, but when the shell of this breaks, there's little birds inside, the 5 birds. I forget what it's called off the top of my head. Probably when I finish the video, I will remember. This is from Needle Bling Designs to the Beach and Back. And this is I Love You to the Beach and Back. I have some beach themed items. I don't have very many spring. I don't have much summer other than beach, I think. So I need to incorporate some of those maybe next year. I don't think I have too many incorporated this year. But I noticed that just like plain summer, like bees and sunflowers, maybe I can add a little bit. And this is finished on some beachy fabric, a little girl on a towel, slit in the back. And finally, this is Tra-La-La on the beach. And I love this pattern. And this was actually stitched on the bottom. That's why it's a little wonky. But I love Tra-La-La fabric designs. And this was stitched, it looks like a very, very light gray. .28 count. So this would be like the finished for 14 count, 28 count. Okay, let me just move these out of the way. I'm gonna need all the space I can get today. Okay, so since we've been together, we celebrated my son Michael's birthday. He wanted something very low-key, basically just come over, cake, coffee. Didn't want a big deal. So I had to listen to what he wanted, and that's what we did. The kids were all together, so that was nice. They got to see each other and play with each other and carry on with each other. But it was lots of fun. And then what else happened? I had a library meetup again, and a viewer said that she was going to stop by, and unfortunately she couldn't make it. But everybody who came the last time except one, she told us she wouldn't be able to make it because she was going to be away, came again. So we're thrilled with that. And my regular crew was there, so I was glad to be able to see everybody from there. And our next meeting is June 8th, 10 to 2 we do. Okay, so we did that. Then that was Saturday. Sunday, my other son, James, and his wife, Amy, had a wedding to attend. And I had Talia sleep over here. And I believe it was Amy's sister that went to the house and watched Gianna at the house. And so Talia slept here. So we went to pick her up mid-afternoon to give them a break, to get ready and everything. And we brought her here. Then I brought her in the backyard and just followed her around. She just turned 1 in February, March, April, May. So 15 months old. So she really doesn't know too well. And so I follow her around and make sure she doesn't get hurt. And then she went to sleep. We had dinner, bath time, had her play some, and then it was time for her to go to sleep. We came upstairs. She took her bottle, turned over on me, fell asleep in my arms, placed her in the crib, and she slept till 6 o'clock the next morning. Couldn't ask for anything more than that. That was wonderful. So when I put her down, which was about 7:45, I think it was about 7:45, maybe 8 o'clock when I came down, I got in a little bit of stitching that night, just to say I did something that day. Okay, and that was this past Sunday. So Monday, we drove her to her daycare in the morning. Amy met us there. And then I'm trying to think of all the things that we did, and it doesn't make a difference. And then Tuesday I had Layla and Caleb. And then today is Wednesday. And here we are. So I hope I didn't bore you, Eddie, from family life and what I've been doing. But now I'm going to get into the stitching. So since we were last together, I stitched Hands-On Design, Whale, Hello There. And this was a new start. Was this a new start for this month? I think it was. Yes. And I stitched this on a light blue Aida from Artiste, I believe. It's a 14 count. And instead of doing a white ornament, I did a gold one. Just to do something different. I think it was the gold that was in his eyes. So that's a finish. The next one that I stitched on is Works by ABC, Stained Glass Flowers. And I had started this one. I had showed that to you that I started it. And I completed it. This is on, it's not marked, let's see if I have it here. 16 count white Aida. And this is the one I completed this time. And it's stitched with étoile. So you can see, I don't know if you can see sparkle, or you see white spots. And so I'm only doing 2 of them. I'm going to finish them in a pillow. And I had a fabric that had flowers of both these colors. And for the life of me, I don't know if I used it in a previous finish, but I can't find it. So I'm going to make these into pillows and put them out like for spring, summer. So for this blue one, I think I'm going to use this, because it's going to be in the back. It's not going to show that much in the front. So I'm thinking of this. Now that I'm looking at it on camera, it seems like a bit bright. But in real life, it kind of matches the inside colors. So I might be using that. And then for the purple one, I found this fabric. And this, again, is only for the back. I'm not making them any wider as far as adding fabric to it. So those are another finish. And again, it was 16 count white Aida with étoile threads. I'm not crazy about étoile. I find that they knot and they not fray, but they get fuzzy when you're working with it on the needle. So then I picked up by Holt, Flea Market Flowers. And in her flowers, some of them are like individual colors and some were divided in half. I don't know if you can see them. Like in this one, you can see they're divided in half petals. I didn't do that to them. I just decided which ones I was going to do in a dark color and which one I was going to do in the light color, using the same colors of DMC, but instead of doing the half colors, I did them all full. And I stitched this on a 28 count white chocolate Lugano. And let's see, this is the top. And I finished it. And I love it. I think this is nice to have up now and maybe probably through summer because it's such beautiful colors. Look at that. So to finish this, I had to come back up here and finish this box. I had to do this one and this one. And so I got that all done and I just love it. I have to decide what color frame. I get frames and sometimes I'll have my husband paint them for me or spray paint them, and I don't know, picking a color. Sometimes I'll select a color and want to do a frame that color to have some of the colors pop off on it instead of just a brown or black or white frame. Okay, this is a new start. This is Ye Old Crow by Heart and Hand. I had stitched the red bird and the blue bird. So here we are with the black one. And it's called Ye Old Crow. And this is stitched on a 28 count Country Mocha Lugano. And it's just the start. And I'm using, let me see if I'm using the call for Classic Colorworks Blackbird, and it calls for Onyx, and I'm using Blackbird. And so this was a 2-day rotation. Usually when I start something or stitch on something, for the most part, it's 2 days and then move on. I love this stitch. I hope I can finish it in the next time I pick it up. Not that there's a rush on it, but I just love it. The next one is by the Bay Needle Arts. And this is Gigi at the Seashore. Isn't she adorable? I love this pattern. And I like it also because it has blocks of color. This is good, you know, if you do a Zoom call or you go to a library meetup, or, I mean, granted, you do have to count some, but it's like blocks of color, so it's kind of nice. So since you last saw it, I completed this side of her hair and, you know, all the way through here. And then I brought her neck. I finished her face. Her face was up here the last time you saw it, and some of this hair and some of this hair. So I brought all this hair. So I brought this hair all down. I brought her face down through her neck, and I started her bathing suit. And I think she's adorable. And this is stitched on a 16 count Rogue Oxygen that I picked up at Stitch by Stitch in Cape May, New Jersey. I didn't outline her nose. Her nose is outlined with a thread, but I have not outlined her nose. I'm trying. I was looking to see if I put it in her mouth. Yes, I did. Okay. I don't think I told you that I'm planning on attending the New Jersey retreat this year. And I'm trying to figure out what to bring. Even though the first day you don't get much stitching done because you're talking with everyone and catching up with people that you've seen the last couple of years that you've been there. The next one I worked on, is Strawberry Faire by October House Fiber Arts. What did I say? October Faire. Oh no, October House Fiber Arts Strawberry Faire. I worked on this. And when last time oops. No, I haven't touched a drink yet. When I worked on this last, I had explained that in this strawberry, it was hard to read the pattern at first until I figured out how to attack the strawberry. And the way I explained it was there's a symbol. I can show you the symbols, it's not the pattern. This symbol here, if you stitch these symbols in first, the rest falls right into place. And I did get a couple of comments of people that said that they tried to stitch it, they were having a hard time, they put it away. And then another person said that like my tip worked for them. Like they were, I guess, starting it and they followed that suit and it worked. So I have a finish on this one as well. This would be a nice finish for summer to fully finish and put out there. I don't know, I keep, I did that under the bed box video. I forget when, if it was November or something, and I had like 47 unfinished finishes. Fully unfinished. It's a tongue twister for sure. And I stitched this on a 28 count ivory Jubilee. It's similar to a Lugano. I guess I bought this at Needleworkers, and people have said that they can't find Jubilee. I don't know what the real difference is between a Lugano and a Jubilee. And just taking notice of it, like by texture, I find it's a little thicker, which I like. But other than that, I don't know what the difference is. And I believe it's also, yeah, it's a Zweigart fabric. And it's in ivory. And this was the other piece that I had here that I previously shown you from the Cross-Eyed Cricket collection. Okay. So that's another. I'm thrilled that I'm going to have empty project bags to fill up. Okay. The next one I stitched on was Country Cottage Nutcracker Village. And the last time I had just started it and I got about half a house. I don't know, do you call it a house? Do you call it a block? Like I'm doing them all together. So I had about this much done, I guess, on it. Maybe like this. So I finished that first house and I started the next house. So this first house was called Sugar Plums Sweet Shop. And it tells you not to leave any space between them. So it ends at like this 4 motif, and then the other one butts right up to it. You go on their website to like get the details of how to space them. So it says not to put any spaces, but then between the rows, leave 2 rows. So the next house that I'm stitching, and I got the order from their website, is the Chinese Tea Room. So cute. I know it's hard to see the details, but you'll see it next time when I stitch on this. Because like this one says sweets. It has the cakes. And I decided to stitch this with the DMC. It calls, it's hard to see. Classic Colorworks, and I'm doing the DMC alternative. Now the roof of the house, I think the two colors that they selected, because I made a notation, might have been too close in color. So I'm at the point where I want to start, like when I see something like that, say, look, it's not working, do something. Instead of saying, oh, well, the designer said to use this and use it. No, Lori, start making decisions. So, yeah. So I selected, the dark brown was $8.69 and the light brown was $38.28. I have a color chart by DMC that I would refer to get in that a color family. Okay, the next one's a New Start by Primrose Cottage, and this is Spring House. And I'm stitching this on an 18 count parchment Aida. And that's as far as I've gotten. This was a Zweigart. Didn't know. Well, it's hard to tell because, oh, maybe it wasn't. I don't see the orange. Might be Witchold. It's a little stiff. I like it a little bit softer. But once it's finished, stitched on and stuffed, it'll be fine. And these are called for, let's see. They have, they use Weeks, Gentle Arts, and DMC. And I guess if I had the Weeks, like for instance, this is Victorian Pink, and this is Chestnut. If I had the floss already, then I would use it and kit it with that. If I didn't have that color, I would then use the DMC equivalent. Because now that I'm, what do you call it? Now that I know there's a word, that's when you're preparing everything together. Kitting up projects. When I'm kitting up projects and I put, you put floss in, and a lot of the projects have a lot of floss, it adds up. So I'm trying, especially with the over dyes, unless I really feel it's necessary, I'm going to use DMC. And that's just me. And some designers just use DMC. It's their preference and it's my preference. The next one I worked on, oh, this is going to be something when I finish this, is the Red House Sampler by the Sampler Company by Brenda Keyes. I think the oldest whip is His Eye is on the Sparrow. I think this is the second oldest whip. And this is stitched on an 18 count Rustico oatmeal. And I think that's the problem. I don't enjoy working on the fabric so much, but I will persevere. And I worked on the house, and that's all I worked on. I stitched this red section here. Then I brought this over this way, stitched in the outside of the windows, stitched the blue in the windows, came up and did a little bit here. So I have to do the inside of the windows, this lighter blue color, and I put off stitching this topiary. It's not even outlined to give it definition. And so I have to stitch that topiary here and then that window. So I think that's what I'm going to tackle next, because you always put off the things that are tedious. And I do have to finish. He's offering her some flowers here and more grass at the bottom. So I think I will do this section next and then decide after that where I'm going with this. I still have the bottom border to do. And this is what it looks like so far. Bring it in. I don't know if you ever think of this when you're stitching a border that's basically the same motifs. sometimes I find it easier to stitch in one direction than the other. Like the top one wasn't bad. I enjoyed stitching down, but the bottom one now, I know a lot of people turn their work upside down and then turn their pattern upside down and work on it. So that's the Red House sampler. 18 count Rustico Aida in oatmeal. And when I bought the pattern, I was at Needleworkers when the store was open, and I read that that's what they used, and I said, oh, do you have this? And sure enough, they had it, and that's how I ended up getting that fabric and using it. The next one I worked on is The Library by Little House Needleworks. Previously, I had worked on the door, and I finished the 2 top rooms. I had, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to rest it on the computer. It had a banner with words that's, let's see, the first one says romance. I think the second one is mystery, and then it has the brick wall. So I had maybe 1 step in and these 2 rooms and the top done. I didn't have the banners or the brickwork done, let alone anything below that. And this is stitched on a 28 count Golden Promise Lugano. And I put in the 2 banners, didn't put the words in yet. Put in the 2 banners, and I started the brickwork, which looks really nice on screen. You know, like when you're, I don't know you, but when I stitch sometimes and I see 1 line and then 2 lines, and I did one and I go to do the other, and the first one is the same as far as this color and this color. I assume this color is going to be the same as this color, but it wasn't, as you can see. But I didn't stitch that color in. I paid attention. Yeah, I paid attention. This gray color that's at the beginning of it is what's used in the mortar. And then I believe this was cayenne. Could have been cayenne, the brickwork. And here's where I'm at so far. And I love the colors in this. Oh, so pretty. I think I'm going to do the words, you know, the romance mystery genres of The Library in 2 strands of Aida instead of 1. Because if it's 1 and I don't like the way it comes out, like if you can't read it well, I like things to, if I'm going to stitch something, I want it to be seen. Okay, things are falling over. Okay, 1 last stitch, and this was a new start. And this is Spring Quaker by Lila Studio. Some people are working on the Spring Quaker now. Some people are working on the Summer Quaker, which is coming out gorgeous. I've been following people that, Samantha, the Huga stitcher. Samantha, I said it right. I had a real hard time with the word Huga in the past. And I needed a large piece of fabric, and I finally found one. And this is, let me see where the tag is, 28 count Sand Dune. And I had to sew a piece of fabric at the top so that I can wrap it on the Q-snap. So I made sure that I had enough to come down and finish the piece. And this is where I've gotten so far. And so far I've only put in 3 colors. The ABC and this motif is going to be, is 1 color. This little motif and this was the 2nd color, and that was the 3rd color. There's not many colors in it for how big the project is, but I just love it. So you can see it's going to be, on a 28 count, it's going to be pretty big. But as long as I could finish it and enjoy it, I'll be happy. And that was my last one. So let me, again, go out of frame and move this aside so I can share some other things with you. Good thing I have another table here, and good thing you can't see it because it's a mess. Okay, so first of all, I was watching Pam and Steph, And Pam is working. That was the one, the last one I showed you was spring Quaker. I have summer Quaker slated to be to start later on this year. And Pam is working on this from Just Keep Stitching. And she said she was stitching something and she noticed something was not right. It's hard to see here, but I believe it was these waves. And I don't remember what side it's on, but has to do with the waves going down here, or design that's going down here. So she said that there was a mistake, and she went on to the website, and I knew I was starting this, so I went on to the website and I found where she printed out the entire page with the change. So I printed the page. I can't show you the pattern, of course, but it was on page 8, if anybody has it. And what I did was see revised page, and then I put revised. And basically, I don't know if you can see better, I think between this motif and this motif, like there's the same amount of spaces, but on the one that was technically not right, it had one more space in between. So thank you, Pam and Stephanie, for sharing that on your video, because now I have the change, and because I don't usually go on websites and see if there's any changes or misprints. Okay, now for those of you that don't want to see how, oh, I guess I should, before I do that, I should show this. Okay, for Mother's Day, I was blessed with pictures of my grandchildren, and there's nothing better than that. So this is Gianna and Talia. Gianna's going to be 3 this summer. Talia is 15 months now. And look, they put her hair in pigtails. This was actually the very first day that she went to daycare, and I didn't watch her anymore. And the daycare people put her hair in pigtails. So, fun. Then I was after my son Michael for some pictures. At Libby's funeral, he did a slideshow, and there were a lot of pictures that I wanted. And I said to him, can you put it on a stick so I can go somewhere and print them out? And he kept saying, oh, I'll print them out for you, Mom. And I didn't want to harp on it, but he finally did. And he and Rebecca gave me the frame to put them in. And I picked from a bunch of pictures, but I need another frame for how many he gave me. So I wanted to share this with you. The twins were born in November. Let's see, this past November 2023, the twins were born. So this is Christmas, and they were home alone because COVID was, you know, out there, flu, colds, and the children were too young to be around so many people, and we totally understood. Though everybody was totally disappointed that we didn't get to see the twins. And I'm trying to see if I can get some glare off these pictures. This is Libby. This is Libby and Lila. This was Easter, and this was the first year that everybody got to see the twins. Michael's holding Libby, Layla, and Rebecca's holding Caleb. And here's little Caleb in December. This was April. And then here's Libby and Layla. Libby and Layla. They were to be identical because the egg split, but because of genetics, they weren't. Okay, here's Libby and Layla, a couple of months old, and here's Libby. And this is Libby right there with her unicorn. So I'm sorry for the glare. But that hangs in my living room, and like I said, I have more more photos that I can make another collage in. And this was this past winter. This is the family. And Michael, Lila, Rebecca, and Caleb in the snow. And here's Lila. Okay, I think that's it. Oh no, Q-Snap. Now I can say anybody who doesn't want to watch this part of the video, thank you for visiting with me. I hope you're subscribed. I hope you give me a thumbs up. It seems that when you give thumbs up, once you get so many, YouTube starts putting your videos out there so more people can watch. Okay, let me get, so thank you for watching. If you're gonna hang it up now, I hope you come back. I'll probably be back the beginning of June. We're having a barbecue this Sunday for Memorial Day. And hopefully the weather will hold out Saturday. I think it's supposed to rain maybe the early morning of Sunday, and then hopefully it'll clear up and the kids could play outside and we could all eat outside, which is what we're looking forward to. And my mother-in-law is looking forward to that too, because they live in an apartment, co-op, condominium, I don't know what it's legally called, but there's no place for her to enjoy the outside. She has a hard time walking. So she likes to sometimes go visit and be able to sit outside. So, yeah, so we're looking, hopefully it's a nice day that we can do that and not too hot. But I think today's supposed to be 88 degrees. I kept the window closed in here because once somebody says, oh, do you live near an airport? Because they hear the planes. I said, not too far away. Do you have a hospital nearby? The sirens. So I close everything so it's nice and quiet. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful Memorial Day. If you have a barbecue plan, thank you to all the service people that serve for us. I totally pray for you every day. And I hope you make it home safely to your families when you're done. Everybody else, be kind, be happy. Love you guys. See you next time. Okay, let me get the Q-Snap stuff. Okay, I'm still here. Okay, I'm going to tilt the camera so that I can show you how I put on a large piece. Oops. And first I'm going to show you the size of this large piece. And of course, since this is already started, this is His Eye is on the Sparrow by Plum Street Samplers. And I cut it short. I didn't do the whole design. And so technically I'm working in this section right now. If I were to put it in the Q-Snap for where I would be stitching the next time, it would probably most likely be the center section right here. But that's an easy attachment to the Q-Snap, the center. I'm going to show you, I'm going to put it like in this corner and show you what I do with all this fabric. Okay, so I'm only using an 11 by 11 Q-Snap. Excuse the bang. And I'm going to tilt you. So I'm going to be, let's say, how do you say that? I'm not putting it, framing this section? I don't know. Putting it in a Q-Snap. So I'm going to turn it around so that it's, I'm going to do it this way, facing me. Okay. So now on this side, I don't have too much fabric, but on this side, I have a lot of fabric. So I will put this side on the Q-Snap first. So what I'll do is I'll turn it around where that is on the top. The side is on the top. Now if I were stitching right on this beginning section, I would probably not fold this over, because then there isn't enough room once you put the Q-Snap on here to stitch right here. So normally, you know, you have to make some adjustments. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the fabric, and I'm going to try to make it as straight as possible on the Q-Snap. And then I get a piece of batting, because I have a lot of extra batting. And I know, okay, Pam and Steph just did a video also on putting on Q-snaps. And it was on there. Let's see, I wrote it down here somewhere. I will put it below because I had a piece of paper and it probably got shuffled in with the pieces that I just showed you. I think it was episode 343, but I will double check and I will put it in the show notes. And it was very funny. It had to do with the way you put it on, take it off, and it was like something like slide, pop. I forget the other word now. I don't have it written down, but go watch their video. I will put the number down below. It's funny. I went online right before we got together to make sure I had all the information, and of course I can't find the piece of paper that it's on. So, okay, so back to this. So I put a piece of batting. They used a shelf liner from the kitchen. You can use that as well. I just happen to have a lot of batting. Now, I noticed that when I put on that Q-snap, it went askew. It's not totally straight. So I just flipped it out again. Try to make it straighter. Put the batting on. Put the Q-snap on. Okay? Now, I'm going to bring it where this long section is. I'm going to lay it down on the table. I'm going to take the very end of it and put it on the Q-snap, trying to fold it as nicely as possible, giving it such a big piece of fabric. Okay, so now I'll get another piece of batting, put the Q-snap on. Now, at this point, I have an option. I could do the top and bottom, or I can roll up the section that's here to the top of the Q-snap. And then I'm taking these off the leg of the table because my grandchildren like playing with magnets. And as long as I'm here to watch them, they just stick it on and stick it off. They don't really play with them because they're dangerous. Okay, so now I have that secured here. So now I'll turn it either top or bottom. At this point, it doesn't make too much of a difference. Put another piece of batting. Shelf liner is also what you can use. I don't know if I came up with the right name, but that's what Stephanie and Pam use. And a viewer was very nice to send me these magnets. I had purchased them from Amazon, but I purchased the wrong size. And I love them. They also serve as needle minders for me. Okay, now I flipped it, and now, since I did the bottom, now I will do the top. And so I will fold this over, piece of batting, and a Q-snap. Now, I could put another magnet here. Okay, so that's how I would, now you're saying, what do you do with all this? Okay, then I get my, I have 4, one is on a project right now, grind guards. And you can see they're different sizes. These 2 are pretty much the same size. This one's a little looser because it's been stretched out. But I would wrangle that fabric underneath this grind guard. And it would be like this. And this is how I would stitch on it. If it gets loose while I'm stitching, I just tighten the Q-snaps like so, all the way around, and continue. Sometimes if, for me, the fabric does get loose. I think the shelf liners might hold it a little bit tighter. Yeah, and like if I were to stitch on this today or tonight, I do a 2-day rotation. I would leave it in the Q-snap overnight and stitch on the second day. Then I would take it off. But since this is not due to be stitched on in the next couple of days, this is how I take it off. And I just pull on the fabric and it just pops it back out. I push my thumbs back here. It just pops it right out on all of them. And that's how I handle a large project in a Q-snap. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I had enough to share with you and that you were interested. And until next time, I'm looking at about 2 weeks. Have a wonderful couple of weeks. Take care of yourself. Love you guys. Thanks for coming by. Mwah! Take care. Hi, Flosstube. This is a little addition that I'm adding on my last video. I hope I can get it to work where I can put them together. I've done it before. I'm going to try again. If not, but if you're still here, there was a few things that I wanted to say about putting the fabric in the Q-snap. And if you're starting a new project, once I put it in the Q-snap, I put a pin at the top left corner, because sometimes you can put it in your frame, but you're not starting it right away. You're saying, okay, I'm going to do it in an hour or two, but you were getting things ready. But if I put that pin there, I know how to hold Q-snap. For instance, even last night, I was working on Live on Little by Plum Street. And there were so many flowers down the side. And I counted. And I said, okay, I'm right here. I know where to start. But before I really picked up the needle last night, I opened the fabric off the Q-snap and literally went with the pattern to make sure I was in the right place. But if it's a new start, put that pin there so that, because proof of this happening on, was it Angel of Light? I held it in the wrong orientation. And you've seen that in the past. So always put a pin or something. Now, if something's asymmetrical and or symmetrical and you're starting in the center and then going to work out, I usually run a thread over a couple of boxes, for a better word. I run some thread in the corner so that I know, even when I put it on my Q-snap, this is the top left-hand corner for me. And that's how I'll put it in my Q-snap, and then I can work out. I always put some kind of pin or stitch so I know the orientation that I'm working on, if it's difficult, or when you're first starting and you're not starting that immediate section. As soon as you put it in, hold it up and start stitching. The other thing I wanted to say is on Pam and Steph's video, and that was episode 343, where they show you how to put the fabric on the Q-snap. They were talking about how to get it off the Q-snap, and they used the terms push, pop, and slide. But it was very funny coming from them, of course. And they showed how they get the fabric off. Some people slide their Q-snap cover off. But go watch them. I don't want to give you too much information. Episode 343, very funny, as usual. They always put a happy time in my viewing. And the other thing I wanted to mention, that I watched a new Flosstuber, and the name of the Flosstube is Shane Brook Cottage, and her name is Lorraine. It popped up on my feed of, maybe you'd be interested. So I hit on her. And I watched her video. Now, she doesn't number her videos. She's a cross-stitcher and quilter, and I went back to see her other videos, titles, and they're basically titles. So this one was called Cross Stitch with So Many Finishes, Past the Stash, Whips, and the Usual Shenanigans. I will put that down in the bottom. she gives an update on her family and what they're going through, and she asks for some prayers. So if you'd like to watch her, she has beautiful finishes and whips. She does a different, array of different stitching. This one didn't have any quilting in it. It was all cross stitching. So if you have a moment and would like to try a new cross stitcher, Shane Brook Cottage, like I said, I'll put it below. Her name is Lorraine, lovely woman, and I enjoy watching her video. Okay, that'll do it. Hope it works. Fingers crossed. Take care. Bye, guys.